Good evening. We turn now to a quiet but consequential shift in the naval war in the Black Sea. For more than 2 years, Russia has used Iranian-designed Shahed drones to batter Ukrainian cities in overnight waves, dozens, sometimes hundreds, in a single night. Ukraine's answer has increasingly come not from the sky, but from the water. Tonight we examine how Ukrainian forces have turned unmanned surface vessels into floating launch platforms for drone interceptors, and why militaries far beyond this conflict, including the United States Navy, are studying the results. To understand why Ukraine turned to the sea, we have to start with the scale of the drone threat itself. Since 2022, Russia has conducted sustained long-range strikes using Shahed 136 drones, rebranded domestically as Katran X1.2. Cheap, slow-moving loitering munitions built in large numbers with Iranian design assistance. According to Ukrainian defense sources cited by the Foreign Policy Research Institute, despite nightly barrages that can number in the hundreds, fewer than 10% of Shaheds reach their intended targets, a testament to a layered Ukrainian air defense system that has evolved rapidly under pressure. A significant part of that defense now comes from a class of weapon barely 2 years old, the FPV interceptor drone. These are small, fast, maneuverable aircraft built specifically to chase down and destroy incoming Shaheds, not with expensive guided missiles, but with light airframes flown or AI guided into a collision course. It's a layered system by necessity. Ground-based mobile fire teams, electronic warfare units that jam guidance signals, fighter jets on standby, and now these interceptor drones all work in sequence, each catching what the layer before it missed. Analysts who track the program note that the slow speed and large radar signature of the original Shahed design, intended for mass production and cost efficiency, not stealth, is precisely what makes it vulnerable to this kind of layered, low-cost response. The trade-off Russia accepted when it chose quantity over sophistication is the same trade-off Ukraine has spent the past year exploiting. The most prominent of these systems is known as the Sting, developed by the Ukrainian volunteer group Wild Hornets. According to open-source documentation, the project nearly collapsed in early 2025 due to funding shortfalls before volunteer donations, including support from activist Serhiy Sternenko, kept it alive. The Sting is a compact, 3D-printed, bullet-shaped quadcopter capable of speeds over 340 kilometers per hour, guided using thermal imaging cameras to track drones even at night. Its first confirmed kill went viral in April 2025. By October of that year, manufacturers say it had accounted for more than 1,000 destroyed enemy drones, and Ukrainian officials demonstrated the system to a Danish military delegation using a Kinetic target drone. In December 2025, according to reporting compiled by Wikipedia's source Timeline, the Sting achieved another milestone. It downed a Geran 3, a jet engine-powered variant of the Shahed that Russia had fielded specifically to outrun existing interceptors. That arms race, faster interceptors chasing faster drones, is the through line of this entire story. And in April of this year, it moved from land and air onto the water. According to Ukraine's unmanned systems forces, on April 19th, the 412th Brigade, known as Nemesis, carried out what the military described as the world's first successful downing of a Shahed-type drone using an interceptor launched from an unmanned surface vessel, a naval drone, rather than a ship or ground vehicle. The Ministry of Defense confirmed the mission was conducted during a combat patrol at sea. Samuel Bendit, an analyst on Russian military technology at the Center for Naval Analyses, told Breaking Defense that the tactic adds another protective layer for Ukrainian cities, and noted that, based on available open-source information, Russia has not demonstrated a comparable capability. The type of USV used in that specific mission was not publicly disclosed, but Ukraine has, over the past 3 years, built a substantial inventory of naval drones for exactly this kind of asymmetric role, most famously the Magura 5.5, credited with strikes that damaged and destroyed multiple Russian naval vessels and contributed to Russia relocating its Black Sea fleet away from Crimea entirely. The idea of mounting interceptor drones onto these platforms is a newer evolution of that same playbook, turning ships built to attack surface targets into ships that can also shoot down what's coming from the air. That evolution reached a new stage last month. In mid-May, the Ukrainian firm Russian Shahed, working with the Black Sea Legion, a naval unit under Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate, publicly demonstrated a new platform called the Katran X1.2 on the Dnipro River for a group of foreign journalists. According to Defense Express and Ukrainska Pravda, the vessel is just over 9 meters long, powered by a 350 horsepower engine with a declared range of 1,600 kilometers. Extendable, operators say, using satellite communications. During that river demonstration, the Katran carried 27 of MacHub's own dead-fly interceptor drones. AI-enabled systems, the company says, are designed to detect and pursue airborne targets with reduced reliance on a human operator, reaching speeds of up to 380 kilometers per hour, with engineers reportedly working to raise that ceiling further. The tactical logic, according to Euromaidan Press, is geographic. Russian Shaheds routinely follow river valleys, including the Dnipro corridor, as low-altitude flight paths toward Kiev and other cities. A mobile platform that can loiter along that corridor rather than waiting at a fixed ground site extends the intercept zone significantly further from the capital. It's worth noting some published specifications differ. MacHub's own datasheet lists a baseline payload of 23 interceptors, while the higher figure of 27 reflects what was shown during this specific demonstration. The company says the platform can also be reconfigured to carry strike drones or short-range air-to-air missiles instead, making it a multi-role system rather than a single-purpose interceptor barge. According to Defense Blog, MacHub describes the different configurations under a single command architecture it calls mission control, intended to link the surface vessel and its airborne interceptors so that a single operator, working from a mobile post on shore, can manage the swarm rather than piloting each drone individually. That networked one-to-many control model, a small human team overseeing dozens of autonomous or semi-autonomous systems, is arguably as significant to militaries watching this conflict as the hardware itself. It's also, notably, the subject of an early export push. The Ukrainian government has said the Katran and its interceptor systems made their international debut at the Eurosatory Defense Exhibition in Paris this year, part of a broader effort by Kyiv to license combat-tested technology to partner nations. Turning now to the numbers driving this entire strategy. Traditional Western air defense interceptors, such as the Patriot system, cost in the range of several $1 million per missile. A Shahed drone, by contrast, is estimated by defense analysts to cost Russia somewhere between $20,000 and $50,000 to produce. An FPV interceptor, like the Sting, costs roughly $2,000 to $2,300, meaning Ukraine can, in principle, expend dozens of interceptors for the cost of a single high-end missile, while still coming in well under the cost of the drone being destroyed. That cost asymmetry is the entire rationale for this approach. Air defense built around $1 million interceptors cannot be sustained indefinitely against an enemy launching hundreds of cheap drones a night. Ukraine's naval and aerial interceptor programs are, in essence, an attempt to invert that equation, and multiple platforms beyond the Sting, including the P-1-SUN interceptor, produced by the firm Skyfall, follow the same logic, at a reported unit cost near $1,000. This is where the story extends well beyond Ukraine's coastline. According to reporting from U.S., NI News, and IEEE Spectrum, the U.S. Navy has explicitly cited Ukraine's naval drone campaign, including the near destruction of Russia's Black Sea Fleet presence in Crimea, as a reference case for its own planning in the Indo-Pacific. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command has floated a concept known informally as Hellscape, championed by Admiral Samuel Paparo, which envisions swarms of autonomous surface and undersea drones deployed to complicate any Chinese military move against Taiwan. The Navy has laid out plans to field dozens of medium unmanned surface vessels in the Indo-Pacific by the end of the decade, with budget documents describing modular, swappable payloads, sensors, electronic warfare packages, and strike modules that can be adapted across different missions. It's important to draw a precise distinction here. U.S. officials, including Rear Admiral Douglas Sassy of the Office of the Chief of Naval Operations, have cautioned that Black Sea-style drone tactics don't transfer directly to the Pacific, given the vastly greater distances between islands compared to Black Sea coastlines. The lesson being drawn is conceptual: attritable, low-cost autonomous systems as a layer of deterrence, rather than a literal copy of Ukraine's hardware. Meanwhile, China has been developing its own autonomous maritime systems. Army Recognition reported in April that Chinese forces tested a coordinated swarm of small unmanned surface vessels off Guangdong province, capable of autonomous patrol and interception maneuvers, a signal that Beijing, too, is watching how this technology is reshaping naval competition. The Black Sea is not the only waterway where this kind of unmanned technology has moved from experiment to operational use. During the recent conflict between the United States and Iran, Reuters reported that U.S. Central Command deployed uncrewed surface vessels, including a small craft called the Global Autonomous Reconnaissance Craft, for patrol missions in the Gulf under an operation the Pentagon dubbed Epic Fury. A Pentagon spokesperson confirmed the deployment, but declined to detail the full range of unmanned systems in use. Iran, for its part, has used its own sea drones to strike oil tankers in the Gulf on at least 2 occasions since that conflict began, according to the same reporting. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense has said its own experience defending the Black Sea offers what it calls a replicable model for countries facing similar threats in the Strait of Hormuz, and Kyiv has held direct discussions with Middle Eastern governments on that basis. Taken together with the Pacific deployments we described earlier, the pattern is consistent. A tactic developed under wartime pressure in one region is now being studied, adapted, and in some cases directly requested by militaries facing entirely different adversaries and geography. None of this is happening in a vacuum. Russia has continued to adapt its own drone fleet in response to Ukraine's interceptor advances. The introduction of the jet-powered Geran 3 variant, faster than the original propeller-driven Shahed, was a direct attempt to outpace interceptor drones. Ukrainian manufacturers say their systems have since been upgraded to counter it, but officials and independent analysts covering the conflict describe this as an ongoing, iterative contest rather than a resolved advantage for either side. That cycle is likely to continue. Neither side has an incentive to stop innovating, and both interceptor and strike drone development in this conflict have moved on timelines measured in months, not years. Stepping back, what we're watching in the Black Sea is a genuine shift in how militaries think about layered air defense, moving the intercept point further from population centers, and doing so at a fraction of the cost of legacy missile defense. The Katran platform and its sea-launched interceptors represent an extension of a pattern Ukraine has followed since 2022, using low-cost, expendable, networked systems to offset a numerically and materially superior adversary. Whether that model scales to the vast distances of the Pacific, to the varying doctrines of other navies, or to a future where Russia fields its own naval counter-drone systems, remains an open question. What is verifiable tonight is this: for the first time in this or any conflict, an interceptor drone has been launched from a robotic boat to shoot down an incoming attack drone in mid-air. Whatever comes next in this technological contest, that threshold has now been crossed. We'll continue to follow developments in this story as they're confirmed. For our international desk, that's where we leave it tonight.